Viewers and subscribers, welcome back to Beating the Press podcast. I am your host, Rafa. Now, coming up in this evening's podcast, we're going to be previewing the big derby matches coming up this weekend. Merseyside derby is on display, and there's also a big London derby taking place over there between Chelsea and Spurs. Now, joining me this evening to preview these matches and to talk some EPL football, we have, after a long wait, the return of Leon.
Pleasure to be back, viewers and subscribers. It's been a while, but here, live and living.
Yes, indeed, Leon. Yes, indeed. We're going to waste no time. We're going to hit these derbies and see what we can expect going forward. Let's turn our attention, Leon, to the big one over there on Merseyside, the Merseyside derby. What are your thoughts on this game? League leaders Liverpool takes on Everton away from home. And of course, this is Everton's final match in that historic stadium as well, Leon. So this game should have an extra spice to it. Not only is it a derby, but it's the first game in the EPL list of fixtures. Early kickoff. Talk to us. What's your take on this one?
I mean, I just said spicy is a perfect word to describe it over the years. You know that Liverpool, in terms of quality, has been way better than Everton, but for some reason, they seem to turn up very big for this match. So that's the only thing I would say Everton has going for them. It's the occasion, and for in derbies, form goes out the window. Liverpool dropped some points last match, so I think they'll be looking to bounce back. And we know that Everton is not doing well, but it's always can be a way to kickstart their season and taking a major scalp in this Liverpool team.
Well, I mean, Everton, I just say not doing perfectly well, but I think doing well enough considering the resources available to Sean Dyche, in all honesty. They are out of the relegation zone currently, and they picked up a win in their last game. So they should have a bit of form, a bit of confidence. And of course, this one is taking place at Goodison Park. So the fans, it should be a very buoyant atmosphere. And as mentioned earlier, Everton is scheduled to get a new stadium come next season. So this will be the final game at Goodison Park. And of course, as fans and obviously as players, you want to leave a final good impression. So really, Everton has everything to play for. And as mentioned, Liverpool coming off a disappointing draw versus Newcastle away from home. Is the pressure tolling now, Leon? Can Liverpool hold out the pressure going into this Christmas period?
I think so. The thing with this Christmas period is that we have games fast and approaching, so it's all about squad management. How do you deal with injuries? But I think with this Liverpool side, I think Arne Slot, I would say, is a perfect coach for this side because we know under Klopp they were aging and they were suffering a lot of transition. But based on how Arne Slot set up his team, I think that counteracts all of the transitions they were suffering last year. And I think they play control football. So for this match, especially, we know that Everton might start out buoyantly at first, but all Liverpool has to do is manage the game, see out the first 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, not concede. And I think it'll probably be a straightforward enough match. But as you say, it's a Merseyside derby, last match in their stadium. And we know Sean Dyche's team always, he knows how to set up a team to get like a 1-0 victory. So I
Yeah,
think it
for
can
sure.
be a tricky match for sure.
Yeah, as far as I see, no EPL game is as straightforward as it would appear on paper, Leon. So yes, oftentimes the favorite team do go on to win, but sometimes it's really how they actually get that victory. It was unexpected. It could have been a case where they were behind, had to score like a last minute goal, etc. And I think this derby is going to be no different. And as I mentioned, the extra spice to it, Leon. Liverpool
Yeah.
and Everton have been at different ends of the table in recent years. But for whatever reason, either Liverpool drop their level to that of Everton or Everton elevate their game to match that of Liverpool. A derby oftentimes has everything, and the referee in this fixture could yet play a pivotal role in determining the outcome of this game. Tackles may be flying, yellow cards, red cards, etc. So sometimes it's about controlling of one's emotions as well. And this should be an emotional send-off to Goodison Park. But Leon, in terms of your predicted score, what says you?
I think it should be probably a 2-0 to Liverpool. I think probably in the past, I think one thing Everton had going for them, there was always somebody to score. In this Everton team, I think goals are not really coming. Even I had the chance of what because they played Manchester United recently, so I had a chance to look at this Everton side properly, and they don't really seem threatening. I think they made a big mistake by not selling that centre back that Manchester United wanted to pay for like 50
Brathwaite?
million. Yeah, Brathwaite and revamping their squad, but they hold hard hand with him and didn't get that money. So I think it should be a 2-0 for Liverpool for sure.
2-0 for Liverpool. For me, though, Leon, I think this one is going to be closer than one expect. Sean Dyche team are usually well drilled when it comes to set piece. So maybe they don't score in open play, but they are always going to be a threat from corners, from free kicks, etc. Dwight McNeil, for example, he has been one of their standout players this season, and he has a wicked delivery from the dead ball. So I do expect Everton to score in all honesty, but I am thinking it's gonna be a closely fought 2-1 win for Liverpool. Liverpool should get back on the winning trail and pretty much stave off any potential challenge from the Chasers for another week. So for me, Liverpool to win 2-1. But of course, Leon, there's another big derby taking place at this time a London derby, Chelsea versus Tottenham. This one taking place at the home of Tottenham. Talk to us about that one. Another big derby, London. How do you see that
Uh,
game playing out?
I mean, I think it's a very tricky fixture, I would say. Spurs up and down as usual. Winning 1 week to Man City and then dropping points. So I think it all depends on what Spurs team decide to show up and how they put forward. But and as we know, Chelsea has been flying. I think the coach definitely has a starting 11 that's working, and I think he's rotate. You can call it two different squad because one plays in the Europa,
Europa League
one one plays in the
in
Premier League.
the
So I think
Premier League.
they're probably fresher than most teams, right? So I think it should be a very interesting fixture. We know that Tottenham side plays a very high line, and we know that Chelsea's forwards are very fast. So should
For
be
me,
a
Leon, this one, to me, this one is fairly straightforward.
fairly
Fairly
straightforward.
straight. This is a straightforward game. I am thinking this game will have
Goals,
goals and
definitely.
Chelsea will score more. It's as
Yes,
simple as that. I think Chelsea will outscore Spurs and Chelsea should come away from this one winners. As you mentioned, Chelsea is in better form. They are playing more consistently good football. Right now, Spurs, you don't know, as you say, you don't know which Spurs is going to turn up to the park. Of course, this one is taking place at their home, but we can recall from last season what happened in that one. They went down to 10 and Chelsea pretty much rolled them over. And I can see a similar situation unfolding here. For Million, it's a easy routine 3-1 win for Chelsea.
you think so? 3-1.
Easy
I
3-1.
don't.
Easy.
I don't. I don't see 3-1 B. I can see a Chelsea victory for sure. But as we said, it depends on the Tottenham that you because I've watched
I
them.
don't think the good Tottenham is going to turn up
You
in
don't
this
think they're
one.
good.
No.
I mean,
No. The
it's a
poor one will
derby.
show up.
It's a derby. If any Tottenham is going to show up, it must be the good one for the derby.
I think the players are tired, Leon. When you
But
look at that team, especially the wing backs, Poro, Udogi, uh, Kulusevski, Son, these players are tired, jaded, in need of rest. Squad rotation has been an issue. Our team management, probably because there's a lack of quality in depth
yeah,
with the Spurs team. So they need to
that's
do business in January
mm,
and pretty much revitalize and revamp this team. Add some quality in depth. But for me, they look tired, they look jaded. Plus, their number one goalkeeper is out. Defensively, they have issues. Van der Veen out. Possibly you could see the return of Romero. So it could be a Romero, Ben Davis, centre back pairing. That's madness at this level in the Premier League. Madness. So to me, with the sort of form Chelsea is in, that man Cole Palmer,
Yeah.
Jackson, who is one of the red hot forwards in the league, but doesn't seem to get the media hype, they should be rolling over this first team quite easily, quite routinely, even though it's a London derby.
Should be, but as you said, it's a Premier League match. There's no straightforward wins on this paper. You know, Chelsea probably looks the better side, but you could be in
Probably.
for a shock
Plus, Chelsea
tomorrow.
is also chasing after Liverpool as well. Not
Of
many
course.
media houses are giving Chelsea any chance in terms of this title race, but they could yet surprise. I mean, they do have the squad depth to really
For sure.
surprise and shock the football world, but they're in good nick, and I think it will be a victory for them. What says you in terms of your predicted score?
Yeah, I give them the victory, but I don't think it'll be a three. What did you say? 3-1?
I said 3-1.
I think it's probably around a 2-1 for sure. I think Cole Palmer seems to disappear in big matches for so far. Not
Well,
that he doesn't not that he
that's a
doesn't
debatable one there, Leon. I mean,
for,
that is a tough statement to me right there. I can't
for
let
this
that one
season
go unchecked.
for for this season, especially most of those big matches that I watched Chelsea in,
Mm,
because we know that Cole Palmer is the main threat, right? So
right,
most
right,
teams
right.
have been paying special attention to Cole Palmer. So
For sure.
most of his touches has been center circle or lower just to get into
Mm.
the game. So I don't think it's his fault. I think it's just
Well, I mean,
knowing
I
how
don't
to
think Spurs has the defensive quality to deal with a Cole Palmer, in all honesty. So
I
I
mean
think that
it's
may be the difference between Spurs and, let's say, a Liverpool. We saw in the Liverpool fixture that Jones was all over Cole Palmer in that game, almost man marking him and locking him down at every turn. Yeah, couldn't get a shot off. Any shot were blocked. Players were always in front of him. I'm not so sure that this Spurs midfield has that sort of quality to really outrun or outwork or even outmuscle this Chelsea midfield. Enzo is not the most physically imposing, but he seemed to be in good nick as well. More of a
mhm.
technical type player. And I don't really see the Spurs midfield really competing with the Chelsea midfield.
It'll probably be more of a team game from Spurs, really. It won't be like a one man following
Right?
Cole Palmer. I think definitely if you're drawing up a tactical setup for this Chelsea team, Cole Palmer would be up there for you. So for
Definitely.
for the coach coming into this match not having a plan for Cole Palmer, I would say that would be
Madness. It would
shocking.
definitely be
it,
madness for sure.
it would
But
be
again,
shocking and
Pochettino, I would say, isn't the most flexible of coaches, Leon. It's his way or the highway. I don't see him making many provisions for opposition team. He tried to impose his game on teams they play. So I'm not sure. I mean, definitely as a player, you will see the numbers, you'll see the statistics, you would see the quality, and you may have an extra eye on a Cole Palmer. But in terms of specific, particular tactics or changes in terms of maybe personnel, I'm not so sure Spurs even have the flexibility in terms of personnel to really shackle a Cole Palmer. So I expect a big game from him, and hence I said it should be a multi-goal type situation. But again, I could be wrong. The ball is run,
could be
Leon.
wrong.
So we'll have to watch the game and see
yeah,
what unfolds.
yeah, definitely we'll see it after this weekend. But I feel like just going into a match without paying special attention to their special player, even if you're a rigid coach, not to say he's gonna change a tactical setup, but just alternate like who presses who, how much space you allow between each line of whether it's a midfield or the defense. And as I said, based on this season, Cole Palmer hasn't been able to figure it out when big teams are, let's say, top 16 pay special attention to him this season. I know last season he was firing on most of the coaches, but you could say he was just coming up. Most teams didn't know about his quality, so
Right?
we'll see. As you say, I would give it like probably a 2-1 to Chelsea. I'd say, but
2-1 to Chelsea. Well,
mm,
there are a number of other games on show, Leon. We're just gonna quickly run through these games, and you just give me a uh score prediction, so to speak. Aston Villa at home versus Southampton. What says you?
I would go at 2-0 for Aston Villa.
2-0 Aston Villa.
Yeah, 2-0 for Aston Villa. They lost the next match, and we know that they've been doing well. They had a good start of the season, but they've been falling away shortly. So Southampton, not really a strong side. Perfect game to get the 3 points for them.
Yeah, I concur. I concur. Southampton really battling it out there in the relegation zone. Aston Villa need points, so they should definitely be fully focused on this game. Ollie Watkins getting back on the score sheet in the last game. Morgan Rogers, getting a goal. So the offensive players are fired in the last game, but defensively, I still have my questions about this Aston Villa team. So it wouldn't surprise me if Southampton did trouble the scoreline. For me, I'm gonna go 2-1 Aston Villa as well. Brentford versus Newcastle, Leon. Brentford at home versus Newcastle.
Brentford at home versus Newcastle. I want to say Brentford, but Newcastle had a good game against. Was it Liverpool?
Right, right.
Had a
3-3.
good game, and Brentford. I think Brentford has been hot and cold also. I would tend
Hot
to
at hot at home, cold on the road.
cold.
That
Yeah,
has been
Brentford.
Brentford all season. Hot on the red hot at home. I would say red hot. So for me, I'm calling it a Brentford win. I think it will be both teams to score. Uh Usually these games tend to be high scoring. I'm gonna go Brentford 3-2, Leon.
For
Brentford
me,
3-2. The odd goal in
I'm
five.
I'm gonna say 1-1. Score a
1-1.
goal scoring. Yeah, goal scoring draw. So
Got you.
1-1.
Got you. Crystal Palace, Man City, Leon. Crystal Palace, Man City. Man
That's
City has been on the down of
downward.
late, but they did get
Yeah,
a win versus Forest in the last game. This time they play away from home versus Crystal Palace. What says you?
I would say Man City win again. I know that they haven't been seen a lot of that recently, but
Right?
Crystal Palace lack goal threat for me. So I think most teams that has a goal threat normally troubles Man City,
Hmm.
but I think Palace forward line doesn't have enough. And Man City has been under the push recently, so they'll be extra motivated. And I think probably Haaland will, yeah, probably a 3-0, 3-1. Haaland will get
3-0,
back on.
3-1. I concur with that 3-1 scoreline. I think Crystal Palace has enough. Eze made his comeback. He has been their talisman since the departure of players like Zaha, Olise. Mateta got on the score sheet in the last game. I think they won that game 1-0.
Mhm.
Home, Man City not necessarily being the most confident of team these days and not the most defensively sound either. Crystal Palace may just get a odd goal, but I do believe that Man City will take the victory in this game. So for me, again, Man City 3-1. Man U versus Forest Leon. What says you in terms of the scoreline?
Oh, Manu versus Forest. I know that
Man U
Forest,
Forest
Manu, I know Forest is good at counter attacking wise. Manchester United, new coach. So I
at
think it's
home,
probably
of course.
at home, probably a
Mhm.
2-1 to Manu.
2-1 Man U.
Or yeah, or 1-1. I think based on what the coach has been doing.
You don't sound too confident in that call there,
No,
Leon. You seem
it's
to be
not.
floundering between a draw and a Man U win.
Yeah, I'm more on the Manu win. It's just that based on the coach strategy, he's been working defensively really. He said he's been working on build up shape. He hasn't been working on anything attacking wise, hence why even in the last match you see we didn't we weren't any threat to Arsenal. So I think it's probably a 2-1. I think we'll probably have enough to beat Nottingham Forest, but Nottingham Forest is good and we know that most of the players are second guessing the system. So I'll probably go
Indeed. I
2-1
think this
right
one is
now.
going to be a draw, though, Leon. I'm going to call a draw for this one. I'm going to go steal your
1-1.
hesitant scoreline and go 1-1 in this one. I think
Yeah.
Forest has been the surprise team of the season.
I,
I think they're a confident team. They have a good
I'm
system of play. They're moving as a unit against
I'm
a
not
Manchester United team in transition. I would go 1-1, but if there was to be a winner, I would lean towards United as well, in the sense that It's at home. Uh,
New manager.
New manager,
Yeah.
a little extra boost of confidence, so to
I'm
speak.
not I'm not sure if you remember, but when I came on, I think the last time I was telling you that Nottingham Forest it would be a team to look out
Mm.
for. Yeah, and
Where we're gonna have to recheck the
they
tapes for
they
that
are
one, Leon, for sure.
yeah man, just pull it up man because
I'm gonna check the tapes and see what's going on.
yeah, I think they have a similar setup when it comes on to Chelsea. A lot of players around the same age, a lot of good vibes and good tactical coaches. So I think my prediction has
Spot
been
on
yeah
in that
has been
sense.
spot on when it comes on to
All
Nottingham Forest.
right. We move to another big London game, Leon. Fulham versus Arsenal. What says you in terms of a scoreline for that one?
Is it at Fulham? It's away from
Fulham at
Fulham.
home, Arsenal playing away from home.
It's hard to look past Arsenal right now. I would say probably a probably a 2-1 to Arsenal. I would say I think Fulham has enough to
I'm
create an upset, but
yeah, that's what I'm leaning towards, Leon. I
yeah
am leaning towards the upset. I'm gonna go out on a limb and call this one as an upset. Fulham underestimated team in
has
terms
enough.
of their personnel and manager as well. I don't think they get enough credit for the sort of football they play and the sort of results they churn out, in all honesty. Home, big game. Arsenal obviously enter this one the favorites. But I just have a gut feeling. It's
Feeling,
just a
yeah,
feeling. It's nothing tactical.
yeah.
It's nothing I've read. But, looking at the football, looking at both teams, looking at the matchups, I don't think Fulham is scared of this Arsenal team. And I just feel they may pull off a shocker in this one. So for me, I'm going to go Fulham, possibly 2 goals to 1 in that
You
game.
won't
Fulham, two
you won't
goals to one.
you won't be winner.
I do feel one of those Arsenal boys will hurt this
Will
team,
score. Yeah,
Leon. Whether it be Nelson,
Smith Rowe.
Smith Rowe, or Irobi, I feel a former Arsenal player will score against this Arsenal team. And possibly even Leno, the goalkeeper, may come up big, maybe denying a big goal
Uh,
scoring opportunity here or there.
uh,
But I feel the former players will have some say in the outcome of this game.
and those Chiefs player has been doing very well for Fulham. This has been on
Especially
farm. So
Iwobi, he's red hot at this point in time.
yeah, so yeah,
Uh,
I can see that happening for sure.
Ipswich, Bournemouth. Ipswich versus Bournemouth. Ipswich at home.
I think this is a good fixture. I think both teams play well. I think both. I think I watch Ipswich when they play against you. It's hard to call this one to be honest, but Ipswich at home.
It's a easy call for me, Leon.
I would say
Easy call.
Bournemouth.
Yeah,
I
man.
would say
That is
Bournemouth
it,
for
man.
sure.
That
Yeah.
that is it. The numbers don't lie. The numbers don't lie. Ipswich is a
Is
relegation bound team. Bournemouth playing some good football, getting some goals, creating some chances, drawing penalties. Last couple of games, a hat trick of penalties were scored by Clivert. I mean, you have to be doing something well offensively to
no.
be awarded 3 penalties in a game. Granted, it was against a very leaky Wolves team, but I feel they have a good system. Players are confident. Manager knows his tactics, knows his players, and they're churning out some results. Even Nelson seemed to be finding his feet in the Premier League as well, scoring goals, assisting, etc. So for me, uh,
Good good
Bournemouth to win,
replacement.
I would
I
say 2-0.
yeah, I think it was a good replacement for Solanke. I think with Ipswich, I
Well,
think they played
I think he's outplaying Solanke currently, Leon.
right now.
If I
Yeah,
was, yeah, I mean, I think he's outplaying Solanke, both in terms of the eye test as well as I think
exactly.
statistically as well in terms of goals, assists, and of course results. So, but for
Yeah, for
me, two
sure.
one Bournemouth. What says you?
Yeah, I'd go
I
at
mean,
2-0.
2-0, 2-0, 2-0. I would say 2-0, not
Yeah, I
two
said
one, 2-0.
I'll go 2-0 against Bournemouth. But with Ipswich, as I said, I watched them a couple times and I think their system has been good. I think they have decent players. I just think that probably if they recruited better in the summer, they would have been much better.
Well,
But I
January is
think
coming up, so they could inject some
that's
players
maybe,
into
but
the squad as well. I mean, based on their position in the league table, that may push the managers to make an investment, trying to bring in some quality players that can boost the team or, try to elevate them. I mean, you can't. put up a fight, so to speak, put up a,
Yeah,
a,
yeah,
a, a a decent fight. And, with
yeah. Look,
possibly the long-term future of returning to the championship in mind as well,
yeah, a lot
maintaining
of
your
teams.
financial structure.
I would say a lot of teams need to do business in January. The problem is, we know that January is a very slow window and hard to, because a lot of the teams won't want to lose their key players
Well, for sure.
mid-season.
Yeah, a lot of
So,
these English teams may have to look overseas in all honesty.
mm,
Scouting network have to be working
and you
24
pay
hours to find some quality players to bring in the
and you
January window.
and you pay premium prices in winter too. So
That is it.
there's
That is it.
difference.
But
So
time will tell. Time will definitely
yeah, we'll
tell.
tell
But the
you.
next big game on the agenda, Leon, is Leicester versus Brighton. Leicester now being coached by one Ruud van
Louis Van
Nistelrooy. So
Nistelrooy. Yeah,
getting a big win in his first game in charge of Leicester. That man again, Vardy, the old wily fox. Coming up with a big goal in that one. What says you in this game though, Leon? What's the
yeah,
scoreline you're
man.
predicting? Leicester versus
Uh,
Brighton.
I would go for a Brighton win still, but
Hmm.
I think I would say probably it would be a close game. I think because of the it's either a 1-1 or a 2-1 to Brighton.
I'm
It's
gonna go
either
opposite of you, Leon. I'm
you're
leaning
going
towards
Leicester.
Leicester. I'm
The,
embracing the new
the
coach
new man,
bounce.
the
Yes,
new manager
sir.
bounce. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Especially at home in front of their home fans. I would say against an inconsistent Brighton team, to
Brighton
be
team.
honest.
Yeah.
Brighton is almost similar to Spurs. They can come good on one occasion and then blow cold on the next.
So
And away
what do
from
you
home,
think is yeah? What do you think is causing Brighton
I
fall? Because
think it's a case of too many chopping and changing for Brighton. That is my
uh,
call. That has been the case with this manager as well as the previous manager. His name elude me. Deserbe.
yeah,
Too
that's one
many
of
chopping and
Marseille now.
changing. Yeah, I don't. On any given week, you may have two, three, four changes within that 11, as opposed to maintaining a standard 11 and then maybe there's an injury situation, maybe you're bringing a player for tactical reasons or you rotate one or two players, but making four changes, three changes, five changes,
Should be
the consistency is
yeah.
is gone, so to speak.
You should have known his strongest 11 by now. It's
Right.
far enough in the season. You know what player will give you what.
Well,
So
to
it's
be
not
honest,
like
I do think he knows his strongest 11. Having seen the Brighton team on a number of occasions, I do
yeah,
believe he knows his strongest 11. But for whatever reason, there is
mm,
constant rotation. That might just be the policy of the club in terms of exposing players and possibly selling them on later. But there seems to be a constant chopping and
change.
changing that's taking place. Whether it be in the defense, in the midfield, up front. I mean, a player like Adingra, for example, I thought he would have become a regular starter this season,
Uh,
but that has not
and
been the
that
case.
and that midfielder, I think it's Baleba. Yeah, I
Baleba,
think
right?
yeah, he should have
He
been
seemed to be
starting
the
week in.
linchpin in that midfield, but the other players around him keep changing.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
even
what?
him, the manager had him in and out early
Right?
during the
Yeah.
season as well.
So
I think yeah, so yeah,
for
you're
me,
right.
I'm
I
gonna
think
go. I'm gonna go for this one, though, Leon. I'm gonna go 2-1 Leicester.
yeah, I'll keep my 2-1 to to Brighton. Think they should have enough, but yeah, you can't look past a new manager's bound for sure.
Indeed, indeed. And then the final game on the agenda, Leon, this one coming up on Monday. It is West Ham at home versus Wolves. West Ham versus Wolves.
Who's
I would
struggling team?
say, two managers who are under tremendous pressure to get a result. I would say possibly the loser of this game, Leon. The manager may very well be sacked. And for me, I'm gonna back West Ham. I have lost faith in Wolves. I thought Wolves would have come out of their slump from
Yeah,
playing those big teams earlier on. But it seemed as if the Wolves we were seeing earlier has
is
carried
no.
over to the Wolves we're
Yeah,
seeing now. I thought they would have
yeah,
changed that now that they are playing against so-called weaker opponents, but that has not been the case. So for me, for this game, I'm gonna go with the home team and I'm gonna
yeah.
back West Ham to get a win. I'm gonna go 2 goals to 1, Leon. 2 goals to 1. West Ham to win this one, 2 goals to 1. What says you?
Probably, I share the same sentiment. I think 2-1, and I know that based on reports, I think this if Lobategi loses this one, he'll definitely be gone. So
Well, I
I
mean,
think
I don't. You know the funny thing about it, if
mm,
a club is gonna say if you lose this one, you're gone, might as well you just fire the manager. To me, that doesn't make much sense.
but
It simply means that you go on another. Let's say, for example, West Ham gets a win
yeah,
against Wolves. It means that, all right, you stave off being fired. The next two
yeah,
game you get two bad results. The third game you're
gone
under
again.
fire again. So
Yeah,
to me, it doesn't make sense. If you're gonna sack the manager, just sack him from now.
yeah, it's probably even trickier with sacking the manager right now in Christmas when there's those fast turnovers.
Right?
So probably they're thinking, all right, have this result, buy yourself five more games. As soon as we're out of the Christmas period, we get a big one.
I don't know. I don't know.
But
I mean, definitely, I had expected. I mean, at the end of the day, every team cannot do well. You have to have three teams which are gonna get relegated. And in between that, you're gonna have results which are not so good from team to team. But I really thought Lopetegui would have brought a winning mentality to this Everton team. I mean, this West Ham team, and
there's some
elevated
team,
them to the next level. But it seemed as if Moyes was overachieving with this team, Leon, and they went ahead and got
definitely.
rid of Moyes.
Definitely, and even with the signings that they brought in this summer, they were good, but big signings. You have the centre back that was very touted across Europe. Wan Bissaka very good defensively. I think they should have kept David Moyes because we've seen what they have given him, and over the years, managers do well some seasons they might have a dip season. So I think they should have had more faith in him because he's Premier League proven. Lopetegui hasn't been since the thing that happened with the Spain national team and going to Real Madrid, getting fired. He hasn't really shown anything that deserves him replacing David Moyes. I think they West Ham dropped a ball for sure, losing David
Indeed,
Moyes.
indeed, indeed. Time will tell. Time will definitely tell.
And
But
even with the appointment, I think it's vastly different from what David Moyes do compared to Lopetegui. So the players that he has at his disposal can't play the football that he wants. So
indeed, indeed,
sticky situation.
it's a more technical coach, so to speak, and probably the
Yeah,
players that West Ham have are more physical players. When you look at the likes
definitely.
of Antonio, for example,
Wan
Alvarez,
Bissaka. Bissaka.
Souček, these are more physical players, not the most technical per se. They're not gonna give you those crisp controls and those little one-two passes. They are more hustle and bustle type players, that try to out-muscle you, to out-strength you, that sort of thing. But time will definitely tell. Time will definitely tell. But the loser, as I said, could very well be seeing the doors. But any quick final thoughts, Leon, before we wrap things up, as it relates to
No,
the football coming up this weekend?
no, for me, just overall, it's a good season. It's a good season of Premier League. I expected Man City to go through this dip. They have won at the last four Premier League. It was just about time for them to experience something. So I think probably the scrutiny that they're getting this season is undeserved based on what they went through for the last four. And we know that the team hasn't really changed much. So the level has been dropped. So, but I look forward to see which team will capitalize on this. What would it be when if Arne Slot wins this first year after Arsenal having Arteta 5 years cooking? So
That is indeed what I am hoping will transpire as a Liverpool fan myself, Leon. So fingers crossed, Liverpool can hold out the pressure and actually lift this EPL title come May. But there you have it, viewers and subscribers. Thank you again, Leon, for coming on board and really sharing your thoughts and your opinions. Viewers and subscribers, thank you for tuning in to us here on Beating the Press podcast. Again, you can help us to continue to grow by sharing. And if you haven't subscribed as yet, hit that subscription bell. Leave your comments as it relates to these big derby matches coming up. What says you in the Merseyside derby? And of course, that big one taking place in London, Chelsea versus Spurs. What is your predicted scoreline? Let us know in the comment section. But until next time, this is Rafa signing off.